Alright, welcome back students to the platform of Never Stop Learning with your faculty, Math faculty, Shravan. So today is our third lecture of real numbers. So today we will be covering this one. Root 2 is irrational. How? कैसे root 2 irrational है? How is root 2 irrational or other prime numbers under the root are irrational? How they are irrational? So we will be proving this one today. I hope you all are energetic. So let's begin with our lecture. With a wonderful smile in our face, we'll start with our lecture. So we have our question, first question. Prove that root 3 is irrational. Okay, we'll have this question first. Prove that root 3 is irrational. So how will prove? First, solution. Okay, before proving it, let's assume first. Okay, let's assume. We'll write, let us assume. Assume means we'll just taking it. Okay, let us assume that root 3 is rational. We'll just assume. Okay, we'll just assume that root 3 is rational. If root 3 is rational, right? Let us assume that root 3 is rational. So if it is rational, so it can be expressed. Right, if it is rational, it can be expressed in the form P by Q. Right, because rational numbers can be expressed in the form of P by Q. We have learned this in our first lesson, right? So it can be expressed in the form P by Q, but where Q is not equals to 0, and P and Q are co-primes. So P and Q are our co-prime. So what is co-prime first? Okay, so co-prime are the numbers like this. Okay, you have 6 and 9. You have 6 and 9, numerator and denominator. It's rational number, right? But it can be cut by 3. So 3 2 is 6, 3 3 is 9. 2 by 3. So now it can't be cut from this, right? 2 by 3 can't be cut again. So this is our co-prime. Okay, co-prime are the numbers which cannot be cut now. And if it is cut, then it will come under decimal sign. Okay, so I hope you have understood this one. What are co-primes? Okay. So now we write root 3 is equals to P by Q, right? If root 3 is rational, so it can be expressed in the form of P by Q, where Q is not equals to 0 and P and Q are co-primes. So now the first step, root 3 is equals to P by Q. So now squaring both sides. So how we square both sides is root 3 whole square equals to P by Q whole square. Squaring both sides means we'll square the whole two numbers. Okay, like root 3 will also be squared and P by Q will also be squared. So now this square cuts root, so it becomes 3. And now the square will multiply both. So P square divided by Q square. So 3 is equals to P square upon Q square. So now we'll take this Q square to here. Okay, 3 Q square is equals to P square. Right? 3 Q square is equals to P square. We have sent this Q square to here. Okay, to place of 3. Okay, so now it can be also written as Q squared is equals to P squared by 3. Right, that q squared is equals to p squared by 3. It can be written like this also. So now here we'll seeing that if we'll take example now. So if p squared, means now you have 6 squared. Instead of p squared you have 6 squared. Okay. So now upon 3. So 6 is 36 divided by 3. So 3 12 is 36. So p squared is completely divisible by 3. So p squared is completely divisible by 3 here. Okay. So now see out here that if p squared is completely divisible by 3, so also p will be also divisible by 3. अगर p square 3 से completely divide हो जाता है तो p भी completely divide हो जाएगा 3 से. Okay, you have to keep in mind. So now we'll write if p squared is divisible by 3. If p squared is divisible by 3, then p is also divisible by 3. Right? If p squared is divisible by 3, then p will also be divisible by 3. Right? So now after solving this, okay, after solving p by 3, okay, after solving p by 3, we'll get a number like a, okay, we'll get something a. So if after dividing, okay, like if we divide 6 by 3 we get 2, so like this only. 3, if we will divide p by 3 we are getting a. We are just assuming, okay, we are just assuming this one, okay. So we will keep this as our equation 1, okay. So now we can write p is equals to 3a. Right, we can write p is equals to 3a here. Right. So now we'll substitute this p in equation 1. So putting p is equals to 3a in equation 1. So putting p is equals to 3a in equation 1. So what we will get, we'll see, okay. Q squared, equation 1 is q squared equals to, now in place of p we'll be writing 3a. So 3a whole squared by 3. You can write this one. Right. So now q squared is equals to 3 into 3, 9. A into a squared by 3. Right. So now 3 is 9. So we get, what we will get is q squared is equals to 3a squared. We are getting this one. Right. So now we'll substitute this value. Okay. A squared is equals to q squared by 3. This 3 goes down. This 3 will go down. Okay. So now a is equals to q squared by 3. We have this relation. So here we can see that q squared is divisible by 3. Like the same case in p squared. P squared was divisible by 3. Here q squared is also divisible by 3. So if q squared is divisible by 3, then q is also divisible by 3. If q squared is divisible by 3, then q is also divisible by 3. But we know that p and q are co-primes. So co-primes are the number which are completely divisible, which are completely divided already. Now if it will be divided, then it will come under decimal point. But here we are getting that q is also divisible by 3 and also p is also divisible by 3. हमें क्या पता चल रहा है कि q तो 3 से भी डिवाइड हो रहा है और p भी 3 से ही डिवाइड हो रहा है, पर हमें पता है कि p एंड q आर को-प्राइम्स। तो को-प्राइम क्या होता है कि वो ऑलरेडी डिवाइड हो चुका नंबर है, अब फिर से हम उसे डिवाइड करने की सोचेंगे तो वो डेसिमल में देगा आंसर। सो हियर q is also divisible by 3, p is also divisible by 3, so it can't be possible, right? So we can see that 3 divides both p and q. So we can see that 3 divides both p and q. So it contradicts. ये तो हमारे एजम्पशन में था ही नहीं। हमने क्या एज्यूम किया था कि p and q are co-primes, but हमारा एजम्पशन तो गलत निकला। So it contradicts our assumption. So it contradicts our assumption. So hence हमें क्या पता चलता है कि √3 is irrational. Okay. So this is the proof. So this is the proof of √3 is irrational. How √3 is irrational. So I hope you got this. If you haven't got this, we'll do some more questions on it. But keep in mind that this question comes 3 to 4 marks. This question has the weightage of 3 to 4 marks in board exams. So we should prepare well for this question. Okay, we'll get this question or we'll get another question. Another question will also be discussed later on. Okay, so I hope you have understood this. We'll again do some more questions. So now we'll do our next question. Okay. So now we have our next question, that is. So now we have our next question, that is prove that √2 is irrational. We'll prove that √2 is irrational. Okay. So solution. How √2 is irrational. So first, just assume. Let us assume that √2 is rational. First, we have assumed that √2 is rational. So it can be expressed, right? It can be expressed in the form p by q. So it can be expressed in the form p by q, right? It can be expressed in the form p by q, where q is not equals to 0, where q is not equals to 0, and p and q are co-primes. So now we have first assumed that, let us assume that √2 is rational, and then so it can be expressed in the form of p by q. If it is rational, it can be expressed in the form p by q, where q is not equals to 0, right? Q cannot be 0, and p and q are co-primes. So I hope you have understood what is co-prime, right? So now √2 is equals to p by q, right? √2 is equals to p by q. So now squaring both sides, you have to write this. Okay, we have to write these statements also. Okay, but while solving this one. Okay, so √2 whole squared is equals to p by q whole squared. So now this square cuts off root You know, right? Square and root cuts off. Or you can say root 2 into root 2 is equals to 2, right? We know this one. So 2 is equals to p square by q square. So we'll transform this q here and we'll bring this 2 out here, okay? So q square is equals to p square by 2. So we have our first equation, that is q square is equals to p square by 2. So here we can see that p square is divisible by 2. If p square is divisible by 2, like this, okay, we'll see with examples, we'll work with examples, okay. Now 4 square by 2, so 4 4 is 16, so 16 is also divisible by 2, and also 4, only 4 is also divisible by 2, so it's the same case like this, okay. Instead of p, if we add 4, then 4 square is also divisible by 2, and also 4 will be divisible by 2. So only we have to keep in mind, okay. The only thing that we should keep in mind is p square is divisible by 2, and also p is divisible by 2. Okay, if p square is divisible by 2, then p is also divisible by 2. So after dividing p by 2, okay, after dividing p by 2, we got something like a, okay. After dividing, we'll get some numbers, right? So like that only. After dividing p by 2, we got a, okay. We got a. So now p is equals to 2a, right? P is equals to 2a. So now we can replace this value of p in equation 1, right? So putting p is equals to 2a in equation 1. In equation 1, we are putting p is equals to 2a. So equation 1 is q square is equals to p square by 2. So it will be q square is equals to p means 2a whole square divided by 2. So q square will be 2 into 2, 4, a into a square by 2. Right? So 2 cuts off 4, 2 2 is 4. So q square is equals to 2a square. I've got this, right? I hope it is not visible, right? I guess it is not visible for you all. So I'll write it again, okay? We have the equation as q square is equals to p square by 2. Right? So implies q square can be written as 2a whole square divided by 2. Right? We can write like this. So q square will be 2 into 2 is 4, and a into a is a square divided by 2, and 2 cuts off 4 by 2. So we will get our answer as 2a square. Q square is equals to 2a square. So now we will bring this 2 out here. So q square by 2 is equals to a square. Q square by 2 is equals to a square. So here we can see that q square is divisible by 2. So q square is divisible by 2, same as p square. Right? Q square is divisible by 2, same as p square. So q square is divisible by 2. So q is also divisible by 2. If q square is divisible by 2, then of course q is also divisible by 2. So from here we can see that 2 divides both p and q. 2 divides both p and q. But we know that p and q are co-prime. So how they will get divided? So this statement hits that. So it's a contradiction. So it's a contradiction. It fails our assumption. So it's a contradiction. So our assumption, so it write like this. Okay, so it contradicts. So it contradicts our assumption. Hence, root 2 is irrational. Okay. This statement also has marks. So we should first know where to put this all. Okay, we should know how to put this on and how did it came. I've taught you how root 2 is irrational. I have proven this. So now it's your time to practice more questions like this. Okay. So I'll give you some homeworks also later on. I'll give you some homework so you can practice. Okay, so now we'll move on to our next question. Okay, we'll do some more questions. Now, the next question would be, okay, I'll write the next question also, okay, out here. Okay. So prove that root 11, okay, we have got proof that under root 11 is irrational. So, greater the number, nobody's way can solve it, okay. Let us assume that root 11 is rational. So it can be expressed in the form P by Q, where Q is not equals to 0 and P and Q are co-primes. I hope you know this. Under root 11 is equals to P by Q, right? So squaring. So you will write squaring both sides, okay? Under root 11 whole square is equals to P by Q whole square. So this one cut off this one and it has 11 is equals to P square by Q square. 11 is equals to P square by Q square. So now we'll send this Q square out here. Q square is equals to P square and then 11 will come down. So 11. So what we can see out here is P square is divisible by 11. So P also divides P. So P is also divisible by 11. So how it is divisible I have shown you, right? So now this is our equation 1, right? So after dividing P by 11 we got A, okay? So I will not write A now, we will write S for sound. We'll write after dividing P by 11 we got S, okay? So we can write it as 11S. P is equals to 11S, right? We can write this one. So putting P is equals to 11S in question 1. So after putting, we will see that Q square is equals to 11S whole square divided by 11. So we will see like this, right? So Q square is equals to 11 into 11 is 121. S into S is S square divided by 11. So 11 11s are 121. So Q square is equals to 11S square. So now Q square by 11 is equals to s square. You know how it came, right? This 11 will come down dividing this q square. So here we can see that q square is divisible by 11. So q is also divisible by 11. If q square is divisible by 11, so also q is also divisible by 11, right? So now here we can see that 11 divides both p and q. If 11 divides both p and q, but it is affecting our assumption, right? Because we have assumed that p and q are co-prime. So how it can be divided by any numbers again? So it contradicts our assumption. So it contradicts our assumption. So hence under root 11 is irrational. So I hope your concept about proving root 11, root 2, root 3 are clear. So you can prove any prime numbers under the root as irrational using this. So now we'll move on to our next topic. Okay, we'll move on to our next topic now. So now we have the question which we did last time. Okay, prove that root 11 is irrational. Same as we have next question. That is proof that 2 plus root 37 is irrational. So how will you do this? I'll teach. Don't you worry. Okay, solutions. So this question and that question, between these two questions, one will come for 3 marks for sure in your board exams. So you have to prepare well. This one is easy than the before one. Okay. Prove that 2 plus 3 under root 7 is irrational. So just like last time, let us assume that root 7 is rational. We'll assume that root 7 is rational. So it can be expressed in the form p by q, where q is not equals to 0 and p and q are co-primes. Okay. So we have assumed that root 7 is rational. So if root 7 is rational, it can be expressed in the form p by q, where q is not equals to 0 and p and q are co-primes. Okay, we have this much. So now let 2 plus 3 root 7 is equals to p by q. That if we have root 7 is equals to p by q, so we'll have this all as equals to p by q. So now we'll send this automatically up here. Okay. See, root 7 is equals to p q minus 2. Like this it will come, right? So 3 under root 7. So I've taught you how to do this one, right? P minus 2q by q. You can find LCM of this, or I've taught you the logical thing last time only, so you can use that one also. Okay. So now root 7 is equal, so we will send this 3 out here. Okay. Now p minus 2q by 3q. Okay, this came 2q came by doing LCM. Okay, by doing LCM it came. Okay, so we have this much. Right, so we have this much. So now see this. Is this a rational? Yes, it is rational because it is in the form p by q. So this one is a rational. So here p minus 2q by 3q is a rational number. So here we can see that p minus 2q by 3q is a rational number. So root 7 is equals to this number. So root 7 is also rational. So root 7 is also rational. Oh, we are getting root 7 is rational. But we know root 7 is an irrational. Root 7 is an irrational number. We know that root 7 is an irrational number. We already know that, right? So it contradicts. So it contradicts our assumption. So it contradicts our assumption. Hence 2 plus 3 root 7 is irrational. So I guess this is more easier than the last question, right? So here, firstly, let us assume that root 7 is rational. So it can be expressed in the form p by q, where q is not equals to 0 and p and q are coprimes. Okay. This is log of root 7. Okay. So now let 2 plus 3 root 7 is equals to p by q. Right. If root 7 is equals to p by q, so this one will also be equals to p by q. So now we will send this 2 out here. So minus 2. We have found the LCM and we have got root 3 under root 7 equals to p minus 2q by q. Then we send this 3 out here. So root 7 is equals to p minus 2q by 3q. So from here we can see here p minus 2q by 3q is a rational number because it is in the form of p by q. That is a rational number. So if this one is a rational number, then root 7 is equal to this one. So if it is equals to, then we can say that root 7 is also rational. But we know the fact that root 7 is an irrational number. So it contradicts our assumption. Hence 2 plus 3 root 7 is irrational. I hope आप लोगों को ये समझ में आया होगा क्योंकि ये तो बहुत आसान ही है. So we'll move on to our next question. The same type of question we'll be dealing with. Now we have our next question. Prove that 1 by under root 13 is irrational. Background sounds are disturbing you, but you will be focused out here, not listening to the background. Okay, sorry for disturbance. Prove that 1 by under root 13 is irrational. So let us assume that under root 13 is rational. We have assumed that under root 13 is rational, so it can be expressed. It can be expressed in the form p by q, where q is not equals to 0, p and q are co-primes. So we are assuming under root 13 as rational. So it can be expressed in the form P by Q, where Q is not equals to 0, P and Q are co-primes. So this is statement. So because of this statement, we'll get 1 marks. We have to write this statement. Okay. So now let 1 by under root 13 is equals to P by Q. Right. 1 by under root 13 is equals to P by Q. So what we'll be doing basically is we'll write it upside down. Right. So under root 13 is equals to Q by P. Under root 13 is equals to Q by P. And Q by P is a rational number. Q by P is a rational number, right? Anything in the form of Q by Q. So Q we can replace Q as P, and this by Q also same, right? So Q by P is a rational number. If Q by P is a rational number, then under root 13 is also rational. Under root 13 is also rational. But we know that under root 13 is irrational. Under root 13 is irrational, right? Under root 13 is irrational. So it contradicts our assumption. So it contradicts our assumption. So hence 1 by root 13 is irrational. I hope you have understood this one. So I'll write down some homework questions for you all. Okay, I'll be writing homework questions for you all in this side. So the first question is, prove that under root 17 is irrational. Second question is, prove that 3 plus 2 root 9, not 9, root 13 is irrational. Third one is, prove that under root 5 is irrational. And the last question, prove that 2 by root 7 is irrational. So these are all your homework questions. You will be doing these homework questions. So now with this we have come to our end of the session. फिर से जाने का मन तो नहीं है, लेकिन जाना तो पड़ेगा. फिर से मैं आऊँगा, धमाकेदार क्वेश्चन फिर से सॉल्व करेंगे. और आज का सेशन बहुत लंबा चला होगा क्योंकि आज बहुत सारे प्रूफ भी करने थे हमें. तो हमने प्रूफ भी किया, शानदार तरीके से हमने प्रूफ भी किया है. और याद रखिए कि मैथ्स की माया तो हमेशा हमारे साथ ही है. सो हंसते रहिए, हंसाते रहिए, पढ़ते रहिए. ऑल दी वेरी बेस्ट.